And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, and here we are again, another day committed to being your consumer advocate, all about helping you understand your buying decisions here. It's Intelligent Talk Radio. We want to help you be a smart consumer here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and our goal, as always, is to help you win.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
Save our hotline number in your phone. At some point, you may need it, 813-670-7372.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
Call or text our hotline, pass it along to a friend. 813-670-7372 is our consumer advocate hotline. Also, consumerqb.com. Check out our newly redesigned site at consumerqb.com. It looks great. Our web guide, Juan, did a great job. Who's also another one of our show partners. 50-plus show partners, 80 different categories of consumer advocate content and advice right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Give it a quick shout out to Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning, the official cleaning partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Jade is a local business owner. She works it like a family. She's got her family involved. Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning. They're also COVID-19 certified for infection prevention and control. Follow her on Facebook at Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning. Talk to her and let her know that the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers. They're offering $15 off any first initial cleaning for new client orientations. So 813-670-7372 or hit them up directly, jadespremiumqualitycleaning.com. And a couple of hot listings here, 520 George Street South, right here in Tampa Bay. Tarpon Springs, beautiful property right on the waterfront. You got wide open water views of Tarpon Springs, Lake Tarpon, 2,500 acre lake, private dock, mother-in-law suite, great rental income property as well. 520 George Street South, Tarpon Springs. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.com.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
All right, we got our friend Kevin Overstreet back in studio. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, my pleasure. And later in the show, we got Patrick Moraites. He's going to be talking about PEO and some of the different business side of things there. But Kevin he's an entrepreneur, man. He wears some different hats. He owns a couple title companies. He owns the title update program that you heard us talk about here, and also this new venture, somewhat new venture. I know you've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
Property Prequal.
Yes. Yeah. I think I'm at 6 companies now that I'm running, and every one of them should be a full-time job. So I'm doing my best. You know,
Nice.
I can't find more than 100 hours in a week to work for some reason, but
Yeah.
I guess
well,
I'm
you
late.
probably have a great team around you as well as I do.
You know, absolutely. And you just want me to kind of get into it?
Yeah,
or?
jump
Okay.
into it. Yeah.
So I just finished a Zoom call, Zoom meeting. We invited a bunch of agents listing agents around the area, and had about 90 people on it. Went very well. So the property prequal, the idea became, it hit me in April of 2016, and simply by having a contract, a transaction die 2 days before closing.
Yep.
And I asked the closer why, and he said, well, the seller and listing agent accepted a contract from a buyer contingent upon FHA financing on a condo that wasn't FHA financeable.
Yeah.
So that was an error on their part, but it took all the way up until closing for that to happen. And the seller didn't get the earnest money, so they had to put it back on the market. And I literally said, well, heck, we've got a pre-qualified buyer, but not a pre-qualified property. And massive light bulb. And so I've always believed, I know that the real estate, the life cycle of a real estate transaction is relatively done backward. And what I mean by that is, you're a listing agent, you're a top listing agent, and the traditional way of selling real estate is you list the property, and then you and the seller go to work, especially you. So the seller's maybe going to make some improvements to the property, you know, clean it and declutter and things like that. Maybe you're paying to stage the house. You're certainly paying for photography. And So you and your client are working towards selling the property, but then nearly every other party that's involved in the transaction to facilitate it, and that's the title companies and the inspection companies and you name it, they don't do a thing until there's a contract. That's their go point.
Exactly. Yeah, the contract is like, okay, let's start now.
Yeah, and we've all seen a number of cancellations for various reasons, and I'm the escrow agent on those transactions, so we're holding the earnest money, and these people will fight back and forth like crazy over a couple $1,000s to win on principle.
Yes.
And then I explained to them, here's what happens. The money goes to the court. You both fight over it, and you're each going to spend $4,000 in legal fees, and then whoever wins is going to get that $2,000. And the prevailing party provision is typically going to say that the loser pays all of the attorney's fees.
Right.
They always split it at that point.
Yeah.
And I just tell them, like, look, it's not about principle. It's not about right and wrong. It's about getting out of this with the least pain.
Yep.
So what Property Prequal does is, one of my favorite phrases is done diligence. So it is incorrect that a buyer comes to a property, likes the property, and all they know about is the house. They walk in and they say, we want to live here. And then their due diligence start. And of course, the whole caveat emptor, buyer beware, they're not aware of anything else other than the structure of the home and the location and things like that. So I spent forever going through line by line the two primary contracts used in Florida, the standard and the as is, and came up with more than I thought I would of different things that we can do, that Property Prequal can do during the listing period, or even better, before it's listed. And it's quite, and this is just version 1.0. There's a 2, 3, and a 4 that are going to come out over the years. But with a property, with a pre-qualified property, if the listing agent has done it right, and by that I mean they have ordered all of these items and they're all delivered as PDF to their dashboard. We've got a very robust website that they create accounts for, and that's at propertyprequal.com. We just started today the relaunch. We closed it for a while for development. During the time from conception in my head to doing the first closings with a PPQ is what we call it.
Yep.
Say Property Prequal 1,000 times and you're going to want to abbreviate it.
Yep.
And that was right then in April of 17. And since then we've closed just over 100 transactions with the assistance of the Property Prequal, something like 1.4 million in real estate commissions, $27 million worth of real estate sold, and not one cancellation. Because instead of the buyer walking in to love the house and then find out everything about it and the seller and the title and the municipal problems and the permitting and all of these things that are red flags to a buyer,
yep,
that's already done. So let's say there's an open permit, very common. An open permit to a buyer who's invested emotionally and financially into a property is a red flag. They're going to say, what the heck? Was the work done right? So it's kind of a eyebrow raiser for them. With PPQ, all of these searches are done prior to, and then we fix them. So all that has to happen typically is the owner forgot to have the city come back out and inspect it and close the permit.
Right.
So we do that prior to there being a buyer. And that's one of many examples. There are 10 different products in this. This is a hard copy of the sample book. And at propertyprequal.com, this 256-page sample is a PDF. It's in color. You can download it. The agents doing this the best are using this as their primary listing tool for their presentations.
Yep.
And so we shut it down for new enrollments in December of last year so we could enhance further. And we just today are offering to realtors. And this, one of the things that made the testing more effective on our end, the beta testing for those first 100 transactions, but also made it less attractive to a lot of realtors, is it was just my two title companies handling the title side. So Property Prequal, the company, which was formed April of 18, it didn't make money. It basically broke even, but it drove a lot of transactions to my title companies. But the point of it was to prove the concept, to develop it, and now my title companies have nothing to do with it. If you have a title company that you love, which most agents do, if you're doing a lot of business, you've got a good relationship with somebody that's probably pretty solid. There are a lot of great companies out there. Yep. Then they can still be involved. It's going to help them. And this is the only disruption that you've ever seen in real estate, where we're coming in and we don't want a dime of your commission. We don't want a dime. We don't get a referral fee from any of the providers of the services. If they're good, they stay in. If they're not, we replace them. Yep. And one of the biggest points is our client is the transaction. It's not the buyer, the seller, or the realtor, or anything. So it's truly independent. There's no one paying us anything, and no agent on either side or anyone can influence or manipulate the content of the report. It's all transparent. So the independency is a huge thing for sure.
Nice. I like it. Yeah, and I can see how it could save deals. It's a win-win. It's a win-win all the way around, because so many times as a listing agent, even the buyer agents are frustrated. The buyer agents are taking their client through all these different properties, finally find one they like, get into the transaction. Oh man, open permit, bad breaker box.
Yeah.
They've got the old school breaker box. Those types of challenges come up. So with Kevin Overstreet here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, we got another segment with Kevin coming up right after this break. We're going to take a quick break here. Also coming up, our feel-good story of the day: 5 teens honored for saving deputy under attack. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here. I'm your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm a top listing agent here in Tampa Bay. My wife, Lindsay, and I own and operate the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, ranking in the top 1% of all realtors. Real excited about that growth. And we got a hot property here, 12208 4 Oaks Road. This is a $1.8 million commercial development opportunity. Zoning is R9. You got an opportunity to build, develop property right here in Tampa Bay, 12208 4 Oaks Road in Tampa Bay. Great buying opportunity, close to Del Mabry in the Carrollwood area. Prime land development opportunity here in beautiful Tampa Bay. Also, 4214 Peaceful Lane in Land O'Lakes, another development opportunity. Attention builders and developers right here in Tampa Bay, 4214 Peaceful Lane in Land O'Lakes, 90-acre ski lake, owners motivated. You got 8 home sites, 5 of which are directly on Bell Lake in Land O'Lakes. Great buying opportunities here in Tampa Bay. Check out all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. That's platinummvpteam.kw.com. And we're giving a shout out to WholeBodyFuel.com, the official meal delivery service of the Consumer Quarterback Show. WholeBodyFuel.com. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers. Chef prepared, convenient, healthy, organic, delivered directly to your home or office. WholeBodyFuel.com. I love it. Every week I get my delivery of food, and it's got great meals prepackaged. Help you stay healthy here in Tampa Bay. WholeBodyFuel.com. All right, Kevin Overstreet's in the house. Property Prequal. He's an entrepreneur, owns 6 different companies you mentioned, 2 title companies, real estate market. In general, what do you see in real estate market-wise? What are we looking at? Of course, I think I know the answer, but what are you seeing?
You know, we didn't see much of a slowdown with our a little bit with our purchases. Luckily, refinance deals have really ticked up because of the rate environment. And my theory has always been during the COVID lockdown, when people are quarantined in their homes, a whole lot of them might think, I'm kind of sick of this house, because you get sick of any house if you're stuck in it. And so I firmly believe that there will be a mad rush for buyers and sellers, all of these buyers that have been ready to move for a while, and all these sellers that have been kind of holding off because of the fear of COVID. So we've been doing great. I have several friends who own title companies, and it seems the ones that said, let's just work from home and wait it out are dying on the vine. And the ones that, I mean, we're essential businesses, so we didn't have to ever close. And the ones that said, let's work through it and figure things out. Right. We're doing great. So, and that's in any business, you know.
That's right. Seems like inventory being low is a challenge too.
Yeah. You know, it always is. To me, it's always a bit of a buyer's market, just because they have the money and they're going to live in the house. But more listings. I believe listings will boom as soon as there's an all clear, whether that's next month or next year. And you guys are going to be wishing you were a little bit slower.
A lot of people think it might be the November 3rd time, November 4th time frame, right?
Yeah. Whatever it is, we'll be here to take care of it. And I wanted to mention something about the property that you showed on Tarpon Lake, or Lake Tarpon. I'm a member of the Freedom Boat Club, and they have
me too.
They have like 13 marinas with 300 boats that we can use anytime. I don't use them very often, unfortunately, but that lake is so great. If you're here, you're probably used to being out on the Gulf, where you have massive waves sometimes. And man, that's a 1,500 acre lake. It's actually one of the best largemouth bass fishing lakes in the world. Yeah. And April and May, it's going to be hot for that, and it's the most peaceful place. It's just fantastic.
I love it.
So with Property Prequal, today was, as I mentioned, the launch to real estate agents. In order for them to get in quickly and take advantage of a certain position that we're going to put them in. So the deal is that we have our legacy users, which are about the 50 agents that adopted this forever ago. They get it cheaper than everyone. We still don't make money on them forever because they helped us develop it. So that's a thank you to them. And then any listing agent who orders a PPQ between now and the end of the year and gets trained on it, and the training is very simple, then number one, that $750 paid at closing, and that can be paid by whomever they select when they place the order. That $750 paid at closing is locked in for their career. And on January 1st, it goes to $750 paid up front or $1,000 paid at closing, $999. Still a fantastic deal because the properties do sell faster and for more money. But one of the big keys is when this is a buyer demanded product, and think Carfax. Carfax made it big when they were able to hit the entire market saying, don't buy a car without a Carfax report. That's what this is. It's a little more complex, extremely more, but sellers will be then going to property Prequal, to the seller facing site or page, and about to place an order. And they have two options. They can pay $750 right now or $1,000 at closing, or click here to see the directory of the agents that have been using this, and it's going to be $750 paid at closing. So I expect several hundred agents to participate in this between now and the end of the year, but the several thousand who don't are instantly at a disadvantage because the agent that's on that directory, number one, they know how to use the product. Right. They understand how to market it because we train them how to market it, and even in the MLS. And this is about to be a searchable field in Stellar MLS. So if you're a seller, and do you want to work with an agent that sent you a postcard 75 times, or one that is skilled and saves you money on quite possibly the most important component of the sale, because buyers won't look at your house. We're not certifying the homes. We're not saying they're perfect. We're creating transparency, giving the seller an opportunity to fix whatever or to allow for it in the pricing. And some people won't use this, and that's okay. Yep. Right now you have all of these real estate agents that are good. They're solid people, good ethics, but they're swimming in the, let's say that's 80% of them. But the other 20% of the buyers and sellers and realtors are shady. Yep. This is the fraud shine state. Just ask my book. And you get victimized by those. The good folks get victimized by the sharks. Yep. And we're not going to ever make bad people not be bad. But we're going to fracture the market right at that 80-20 point. And everyone using the PPQ, the environment for each transaction, they can't deceive one another. So you could be shady. You could be trying to rip the other side off because it's kind of your opponent, but you can't. Right. So then the other 20%, the sharks, swim in the shark tank with themselves, and that's fine. So the directory is huge, and like I said, right now people find a house that they love, and then they figure everything out about it. Yeah, that's wrong. Yeah, we figure everything out about it, and then they walk in and we love the house, or we don't. The kitchen, we don't like it. We'll go to a different house. And we have 4 versions of this, 4 major versions, releases. This is 1.0. It goes to 4.0. I've been lucky to have connected with a great executive team that knows all the stuff that I don't know, because I've got the mad scientist brain that says, here's a big idea. How the hell do I implement it? Yeah. Well, I've got those people now, and they're geniuses, and I deal with them every day. And I couldn't be happier with the direction that PPQ is going. And it starts in Tampa Bay, then it goes to Florida. Then we have 5 states that we're examining the contracts in those states to see how to build it in each of those. And it'll eventually be in every state.
Very cool, man.
Yeah. And folks will copy it. They certainly will. It'll take them 2 years to develop a system. Yep. We will outpace them because I already know the components of 2, 3, and 4 and the in-between ones. And where this will go is a buyer will walk into a home, a potential buyer, love the house, and they've been pre-qualified through an independent, we call it our certified mortgage qualifier. It's a massive group of mortgage companies that are legit. Yep. They've been pre-qualified. The house has been pre-qualified. They can walk in to look at the house and walk out as the owners of the house.
Interesting.
Yeah. So people are thrilled when they can get a mortgage done in 21 days. That's because that's done backward. The buyers, you're a mortgage guy, you pre-approve 10 buyers. Yep. 5 of them leave because they go shopping. The other 5 shopping around. The other 5 go look at homes, and 2 of them find a home that they like. Then you start checking out the property. Exactly. And one of them cancels because there's a problem with the property that could have been fixed.
That's right. And everybody's wasting time. Moving trucks are out there waiting in a lot of cases.
The average cost, the range of cost for a mortgage company to buy the lead or get the lead, court the borrower, get them into a loan. For each closing, they're paying anywhere between $500 and $2,000 for each closing. And one of the main points is if you're a seller and you're smart, and let's say you are, and your listing agent's smart, you're not going to take a contract from a not pre-qualified buyer.
Exactly.
So pre-qualify the house.
Pre-qualify the property pre-qual. Kevin Overstreet, good job, man. Like
you.
it.
Thank
Good
you.
stuff. Real excited about that product. Plus, coming up, we got Patrick Moraites here coming up next, and also our feel-good story of the day. Find out about these 5 teens that are honored for saving deputy under attack right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team. Keller Williams Realty, helping you win. You know, I want you to think about this show as the hub of your financial, your business wheel, your health. We talk a lot about self-defense on this show, 80 different categories. But think of me as a super connector. Think of this show as the hub of your financial wheel. You know, and each one of those spokes extending out, representing another one of our on-air expert contributors. Call us at our hotline, 813-670-7372. We're going to put you in touch with our expert contributors, and they can help you save time, money, make you a more informed consumer. And that's what it's all about here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, 813-670-7372, consumerqb.com. Check out the newly redesigned website, by the way. Real proud of the way it looks. It looks great. And links to all of our expert contributors at consumerqb.com. A couple of hot listings here. 6417 Yvette Drive in Hudson. This is a waterfront beauty, 2-bedroom, 2-bath property, direct access out into the Gulf of Mexico. Bring your boat, enjoy this beautiful property right here in Tampa Bay. Check it out at 6417 Yvette Drive in Hudson. Schedule your private showing today. Also, 8325 West Hillsborough Avenue. 8325 West Hillsborough Avenue. This is a property right here in Tampa Bay, town and country area on a major thoroughfare. Hillsborough Avenue gets about 50,000 vehicles a day driving by. You own your own building. This is a freestanding office, large conference room, small kitchen, about 8 other offices, 8325 West Hillsborough Avenue in Tampa. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
All right, and this segment's brought to you by Replenish IV Solutions. Boost your immunity. Reach out to our friends at Replenish IV Solutions, the science of nutritional balance, and they offer these vitamin infusion drips directly into your bloodstream, into your arm. And the Myers cocktail is the most famous, most popular, mobile as well. They'll come directly to your home or office. And reach out to our friends, Replenish IV Solutions. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. All right, we're welcoming back in our friend Patrick Moraites, Access Group. Welcome in, bud.
Hey, what's going on, Brandon? Excited to be here. Always a fun time.
Yeah, man. Just navigating this low inventory real estate market and, helping consumers out there. But we've been having an uptick in calls due to COVID. More people just wondering, hey, what can I do to improve my credit scores? Maybe
Really?
looking at refinancing mortgages, lots of things happening in this space. But I know you're in the PEO business
Right.
Professional employer organization. And what are you seeing in terms of businesses and dealing with COVID?
Well, in the PEO space, it's pretty interesting right now. Let me back up for a second and just kind of give the audience an overview
Sure.
of PEO. So as you said, it stands for Professional Employer Organization, but what that really means, it's a co-employment relationship between you as the worksite employer and the PEO, which becomes the administrative employer for you. So you as the business owner, you're going to still hire, fire, train, discipline, manage everything that it is you currently do on a day-to-day basis. And the PEO, what they're going to do is they're going to administer all that back office burden, all that stuff that you never got in a business to do anyway, right? So your payroll, administer your workers' comp, provide you HR, in some cases benefits. So they're going to handle all that back office minutia, and so you can focus in on your business. But with respect to your question, PEO started back in the day with the gravitation for discounts on workers' comp. That was the main driver, and it was predominantly in the blue collar space. Right now, with this pandemic, racism is a huge topic.
Yep.
The HR component, that portion of the PEO is just extremely busy right now because there's so many different moving parts. And as a small employer, you're now faced with situations and circumstances that you've never been faced with before. For example, I was working with a client yesterday where an employee, a manager, a new hire too. So you've got all these things. They're within their first 90 days. They've only been working at the company for a week or two. Boom, test positive for COVID. So immediately they go into quarantine for 2 weeks, and due to the laws that came out, that person is compensated for that 2 week period. This particular company is over 25 employees, so the rule set that they have to adhere to is different than if you're below 15. So that's another important thing to note, and a good reason to talk to your PEO to make sure you're compliant. And this person now, they had a negative test after 2 weeks, but now they're saying they have other complications, that they have blood clots and this, that, whatever, and they can't go back to work.
Wow. So
it's a very challenging landscape, especially for this particular business is in the pest control space. So it's, you have to provide reasonable accommodation for employees if they want to continue to get paid and work from home. But this is a service manager for technicians that requires them to be out in the field.
Yeah.
So you've got,
Wow.
I'm throwing a lot at the audience and you here because there's so many moving parts, but being able to speak to a certified HR professional to walk through that scenario, especially right now, is extremely important, because the last thing you want is a potential wrongful termination suit. And the last thing you want too is potentially the negative publicity from, that individual talking about you in the community, or going to, that law firm that we all hear commercials from.
Exactly.
We won't say their name. They say their name enough,
Well, that's what people look for too. They look for those opportunities. They look at it like a lottery ticket. oh, wow, I might be able to get something here.
Right.
And we've been talking to some of our attorneys too with updates, like Jason Coble. He's a lot into work comp law.
Right.
And when you look at these scenarios, it's like, what is the precedent that's going to be set?
Exactly. I was just in a meeting before coming here, and the company I was meeting with, they do COVID testing for companies, and they do it instead of the swab. They do it. You can do it with your saliva, so spit. So you don't have to go through that painful,
I heard, going up the nostril.
Going up the nostril. But I bring them up because they indicated that right now there's already over 2,400 lawsuits going on in the state of Florida with respect to COVID and employer. So the precedent, you're spot on. We're still waiting to see where is it going to land, because once the precedent starts getting set, that's where a lot of these judges and rulings where they're going to follow. And it's still too early to tell. We just don't know. It's a really interesting. That's probably an interesting time.
So the last thing we need is to clog up the court system even more.
Right.
If you talk to people in immigration suits, they're backed up 2-3 years sometimes. Right. Divorce courts, they make a priority if it's something to deal with the kids or challenges there.
Right. Are they even going to court now? Or are they doing it?
A lot of it is Zoom.
Zoom.
A lot of it is Zoom.
Wow.
Some depositions are in person, as long as you space out a large conference room.
Mm-hmm.
You have the area to do that. And I think it's left at the liberty of, the parties involved at some point.
Right.
Because if they say, oh, well, you forced me to go into this room and then I got COVID.
Right.
How does that play out? We're talking with Patrick Moraites here, by the way, Axis Group, longtime friend of the program here. But
well, how do you even track it and trace it back?
Right.
To the inception of where you got it.
That's I think is going to be the saving grace for small business owners.
Right.
I always look at the business owner as where my heart goes in a lot of cases.
Of course, yeah.
Small business owners, the heartbeat of this country, getting beat up all the time. All this CARES money being handed out. I was going to ask you about the $600 a week on top of the $275. Right. How that's affecting small business owners. But who's going to pay the taxes on this? I'm going to jump into that in the next segment. We're going to take a quick break here. But the $600 a week unemployment. Who's paying the taxes? Who's getting hit the hardest? Small business owners, middle class, the eroding middle class here in America. So stay with us when we come back. More from Patrick Moraites here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Plus, we got our feel-good story of the day. 5 teens are honored for saving deputy under attack. So stay with us right here on the show. Follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter, the Consumer Quarterback Show page on Facebook, Platinum MVP Team at Keller Williams Realty as well. We'd love to connect with you. We'll be right back after this short break.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here. Shout out to the Bilmar Beach Resort, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. The beautiful Bilmar Beach Resort over on Treasure Island right here in Tampa Bay. 2 pools on site, Sloppy Joe's Beach Bar and Restaurant. Great opportunity to go hang out and enjoy some downtime over at the Bilmar Beach Resort. Make sure you let Clyde Smith know, the general manager. He's the general manager over there. Let him know the real estate quarterback sent you. All right, every day we're going to tell you something positive here in our feel-good story of the day. We want to tell you something good and inject a little bit of, good stuff instead of the negative mainstream media that you see out there all the time. Tell you some good.
Tell me something good.
All right, so a King County Sheriff office honored 5 teenagers as heroes for coming to the aid of deputy under attack. On July 18th, 1 a.m., Deputy Elliott was off duty, driving her patrol car home after the shift when she was flagged down in the city of Auburn, Washington. An intoxicated man had caused multiple vehicle collision. As the deputy checked on all the occupants in the vehicles, made sure no one was injured, the man had caused the collision, was trying to leave the scene. Deputy had to jog up to the male, was able to grab him and advise that he was not free to leave and he was being detained. The suspect immediately turned around in a fighting stance, puts his arms up in the air, and he wrapped his arms around Deputy's neck, put her in a headlock, and began squeezing. During the struggle, she heard a group of young men yell, "Get off her!" The teens jumped onto the suspect and struggled with him, and Deputy Elliott was able to get free. They held the suspect's shoulders and legs to the ground to allow Deputy Elliott to handcuff him. In the sheriff's office quoted, "We cannot thank these 5 young men enough for coming to Deputy Elliott's rescue." The sheriff's office, they quite possibly saved her life. So there's a cool feel-good story of the day there.
Wow. So it's okay for the criminal to do a chokehold, but the police can't.
Right. Yeah, exactly. In that story, exactly.
Right.
So,
Wow.
yeah, exactly. Back to blue.
Yeah.
Remember everyone deployed. There's so many people serving this great country right now.
Good thing those kids were there to help out. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
So that's Kevin. That's Patrick Moraites here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we're going to continue our conversation as dealing with a lot of business owners. You're a professional organization here, and one of the big challenges I've been hearing from different friends of mine, different folks that are in, especially the hospitality industry, seems to be hit pretty hard. Is this extra $600 a week? Unemployment being thrown at a lot of people that, unfortunately, again, we feel for people that have lost their job. They're in that position,
right?
But the $600 a week seems excessive.
Yeah, and that had a sunset about 30 days ago, I think, but it didn't come without its negative ramifications. Because you had 2 things working against one another. You had the PPP loan, which was incentive for employers to bring people back, and get them back to work, get them back on payroll. And then if the employee had already filed for unemployment, and depending upon where they were they're located or their wage base or their position, they were making it, the 250 or 275 plus 600. So that went above and beyond what they were making for whether it be their part-time or full-time position. And it just really created a mess for employers because they didn't want to come back to work.
Yeah, exactly.
So here you are, you're trying to do the right thing. You've gone out and look, the PPP loan you're signing on debt. I know out in the public space, it's talked about being forgivable, but that's still portions of it are, but it's still yet to be determined as far as how that's all going to flush out. You're still signing on an interest rate and a 5-year term on that money. And the people that you've groomed, trained, managed, that know your business, that know your systems, invested in, are like, nah, I'm making more over here. Yeah. We had a lot of calls on how to navigate that because, it was.
So what was your advice to the small business owners trying to run a roofing company, contractor company, whatever, what's your advice to those people?
Well, there's still no shortage of talent available. And if you're trying to build a culture and a community within your business that, you want to work with people that want to be there.
Yeah.
And if maybe that extra money was the opportunity for that employee to discover that they want to do something else with their life or their career. And that's okay.
Yeah.
But you need to be in a position of building your business back. And there's no shortage of people that were wanting and willing to work right now. I mean, we're still sitting at 15 million.
Well, the challenge is too, though, in certain sectors, I think there's still a challenge. Like I'm still talking to like construction, handyman type guys, people, electricians. That it seems like pool builders, it seems like there's some niches in there where that might not be the case. Where finding good people to show up to work to do the plumbing, the electrical type stuff.
Yeah, I've heard the same sentiments.
Yeah.
It's really tough. It's really tough. It gets now you're getting down to recruiting. As the business owner, you have to do that self-assessment and say, do I really want to grow and expand?
Right.
Do I really just want to stick to my knitting? And when employees, it does come with headaches, right? Because you got to manage people, and you're managing what's happening to them in their daily lives. I mean, one of the things that we talk about is it's impossible for you not to bring personal life into the workplace, and it's impossible for you not to bring the workplace home with you. So
exactly.
that brings a whole new complexity to everything. And
it does. Yeah.
And you as a business owner have to, be faced with the decision, hey, what if I just scaled back and I only took on this many jobs?
Yep.
Would I be happier, because I have more work-life balance? I'm not having to manage all these people and continue to, live comfortably or have the lifestyle I want. So it's really coming down to a personal choice, but, those are some of the conversations we're having and helping people navigate through, as we're in such an uncertain time in this country right now on so many levels.
That's right. Yeah, it really is. We're talking with Patrick Moraites here. Axis Group LLC, axisgroupllc.com is the website if you think you might need or know of somebody who does. Professional employer organization. It's a PEO. He works with businesses here in Tampa Bay. You can reach the hotline. Of course, we'll put you in touch with Patrick. The hotline, 813-670-7372. Call or text 670-7372 is our consumer advocate hotline. And yeah, COVID-19 has complicated things. It's really challenged a lot of industries. Fortunately for us, heavy in real estate, and our family of companies is real estate, and the radio and TV show. We're able to adapt. We're making things happen. A lot of it is more virtual online, but it's challenging times.
Yeah, a lot. I think during break, you were right at the beginning of the segment. You talked about hospitality. I mean that's the largest employer segment in the country when you think about hotels and restaurants all together.
Right.
And so many are not going to reopen.
Right.
That just weren't able to survive. And even if you drive through downtown Tampa, I mean, these hotels, massive hotels downtown, are empty. I mean, completely empty. So what's going to happen to that real estate? How is that going to be repurposed? Are these employers, business travel is never going to be what it was.
Exactly.
Now that we're this far into Zoom meetings and teleconferencing, the whole idea of flying to another city to entertain and wine and dine, and it's not going to be what it is. So that, the hotels downtown are empty, but we are seeing that, like, the beaches, right? The waterfront stuff is still busy. People wanting to get away or staycation, so there's maybe some safety and security there, but some of these,
that's what Clyde mentioned too.
These major metropolitan cities where they rely on conferences and seminars.
Yeah.
Because now people are being forced. So HR Florida is coming up at the end of the month. Everyone's being forced to figure out how you do virtual conferences.
Right.
Well, if you do virtual conferences, what's going to happen to, these huge facilities that employ hundreds of people?
The challenge with the virtual, I think at this point, so many people are tired of hearing virtual this, virtual that. The challenge, I believe, is that you're losing that personal interaction 100%. And you're not able to absorb. Right. So people are looking at their phone. They're acting like they're on the webinar. They're acting on the their, whatever their boss is telling them to do or whatever the scenario might be. But they're down here, so-and-so just texting them, the kids need to be picked up.
Or how many times you've been on that webinar when you see their face and then it goes to black because they unshare their, so who knows what they're doing on the side? Like you said, paying attention and
and then the commercials so then will there be a surge in like we had back in the 2008 time, the condo conversions? Converting hotel rooms to condos.
I didn't think of that.
It's
already
interesting to see. You knock down a wall, now you got a suite. Now you got a 3-bedroom. There's going to be some changes. It's going to be adapting, and the people that adapt fastest are going to be the ones that win.
No, that's a great, excellent point on how some of that could be repurposed. Because look at all the ones that are in downtown Tampa. You know,
and we need inventory. That's the thing here in Tampa Bay. We need inventory. Other parts of the country, not so much. People are actually coming, leaving. I heard New York is, so many people. It looks different. It feels different in New York right now, especially the big city.
Oh, big city like that. Being on lockdown. Why would you want to be in quarantine? If it happens again, where it's a mandatory thing for everybody. Why would you want to be in December in New York when you could be
700 square foot,
sunshine and beach life down in Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, all the markets that you handle. That's and you can get a lot. Your dollar goes a lot farther down here than it does in New York.
Absolutely, absence of a state income tax. I mean, it's ridiculous. And then being stuck in a 700 square foot apartment or condo. Let's say I own the condo in Chicago,
right?
Seattle, Washington, New York,
right. Here
challenges,
you can get them a beautiful property for what they're for what they're paying up there for sure.
Absolutely. For sure. How do you want people to find you?
I'll give out my cell phone, man.
Go ahead.
No, just kidding.
Whatever you want to give out.
No, you can text me, that's probably the fastest way. So that's 813-579-7383. Text questions. Happy to talk about PEO or HR or help people navigate through these challenging times.
Good stuff. All right. That's Patrick Moraites, longtime friend of the program. ConsumerQB.com as well. You can see his picture there. Contact information, ConsumerQB.com. As we always finish, we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Pack up some food or clothing, hand to that person that you see in need. Donate some blood. Be a force for good in the community. We'll see you next time. Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time